As accounted by the U.S. Census Bureau, the United States reached 37.9 million citizens dealing with poverty in 2021. And even with those extremely high rates, Americans still allow for trends to influence on their purchases, even though, referencing back to the example of Marcus Aurelius, the Meditation of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, Book 4, the idea of not allowing outsiders to impact on someone's personal decisions has been around humanity for a long period of time. Good afternoon, I'm Nicholas Oxman, and today we'll be discussing how reselling has impacted the availability of clothing in the United States. With poverty at extremely high rates, people constantly having a desire to obtain new fashion items, and reselling becoming more and more popular, it raises the question, to what extent has reselling impacted the availability of clothing items for less affluent individuals in the United States? In order to answer this question, let's first define what does reselling mean. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, resell means to sell something that you previously bought. However, it may be interpreted in many different ways, but the two main ones we're going to be focusing on today is when someone is selling an item just for the sake of getting rid of it while still making some money, or where someone raises the original price in order to make a profit out of the product. With the help of lower prices provided by reselling, lower socioeconomic levels are finally able to afford high-end clothing pieces that they were probably not able to before. Reselling provides good quality items for lower prices, making them affordable, and it also gives you the opportunity to sell some of your old clothing in order to make some money out of them. While on top of that, it creates a new form of business, giving birth to thrift stores or other private reselling companies, which lays out a new form of economy while also providing lower prices for good quality items. Going the respective order of the claims mentioned before and more in depth into them, let's first start by analyzing how the second-hand market allows for good quality for a lower price. According to this quote by Carla Ferrano, a professor at Swinburne University of Technology, acquiring second-hand clothing items grants shoppers the opportunity to fulfill their needs while still not going outside of the financial limits. Also, this graph published by the World Economic Forum shows the visible increase of customers buying second-hand products at every age group. However, the youngest one, or Gen Z, you can see they're more likely to buy those products, as they're most likely not completely financially stable, and referencing back to Ms. Ferrano's quote, they're a cheaper alternative to those products. And on this quote by Frida Harrison, a researcher with a bachelor's degree in science in business and economics, it shows proof that based on her study, which analyzed the attraction of customers to secondhand products, how those items are a way to relieve the economical pressure that could be building up on those families. Along with the cheaper prices provided by reselling, it also allows for people to resell those items as a way to make some of the money spent back. We can already see a clear increase in the popularity of those items, a clear increase in the popularity of those websites and shops, but especially the online platforms have had a visible increase in sellers and users. eBay, for example, it had an increase of 1.3 million sellers in 2007 to 25 million in 2014, an increase of over 1,800%. Facebook Marketplace, which was only launched in 2016, already surpassed the mark of 800 million users monthly. And Mercury went from 8.5 million users in 2017 to 20.4 million in 2022, an increase of 340% in only 5 years. However, some resellers are taking advantage of this new upcoming market by manipulating the prices of items in order to make a profit out of them. And in a study conducted by the Journal of Student Research, 60% of the customers of thrift stores notice resellers at thrift stores, and 47.4% of the same group notice they have a hard time finding the items they desire or need, and they think it may be because of the amount of resellers taking advantage of the low price point. Although some may see Some people may argue that this could be a setback to the thrift store scene, to the reselling scene. Thrift stores still provide pre-owned items for extremely cheaper prices than retail, making them more affordable and accessible to the population. The data acquired by ThreadUp shows how the secondhand market is expected to grow by around 127% between 2021 and 2026. And in the same time period, is expected to grow from $25 billion being circulated in the exchanges to $82 billion in 2026. And in a research conducted by Robert Montgomery and Mark Mitchell, 26% of the customers of thrift stores work less than 35 hours per week, while 19% are completely unemployed. This accounts for 45% of the total clientele, which means they're most likely not able to purchase items at retail stores or high-end products, resulting in them having to go for cheaper options provided by those thrift stores. And in this quote by Professor Spencer James, a graduate of Pennsylvania State University with a PhD in psychology and demographic, many studies indicate that thrift stores are usually viewed as a family's last resort to affording high-end clothing items, showing how important this economical inclusion is for those families. In conclusion, thrift reselling has been really welcomed by the population of the United States, but especially the less affluent portion of this population. The lower prices provided by reselling for good quality items, the opportunity to make money out of old clothing you may have laying around in your house, and the easier accessibility and availability provided by thrift stores and other reselling mechanisms allow for lower socioeconomic families to finally afford the desired clothing they may need. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm scribbling. Okay, first question. What information did you need that you were unable to find or locate?
I was trying to find some more information on how those families maybe are able to afford clothing outside of reselling, but then they didn't really show much options other than like cheaper and low quality clothing, so I couldn't really use much of that because it was just like some worse condition clothing that doesn't last long, so it was kind of not that useful.
Okay, and how did you use the conclusions of others to advance your research?
At first, I was leaning towards the thinking how reselling was negative for those families, but then after talking to some of my peers, I realized it was actually more positive, and then I started doing the research and noticed that it actually is positive to those lower income families.